This is John Sanmez from Pluralsight, and in this module we're going to be talking about collections in Java. And I have to admit, collections are one of my favorite topics in Java because they really help you as a programmer to do a lot more with very little. And they really help you to implement algorithms that would have been very tedious to do without the use of collections. So once you understand collections, I feel like your ability as a programmer really expands. So I'm very excited to talk to you about collections today and teach you how to use them in Java. So let's go over what we're going to cover in this module. Well, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to try to understand collections a bit in general, why we have collections and how they operate. And then we're going to look specifically at how collections are implemented in Java and kind of the general structure of it. We're not going to get too far into the weeds there, but I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of how collections are implemented in Java so you understand where they're coming from and where the different types of collections come from. Then we're going to go through each type of collection. I'm going to give you a demonstration of how to use each type. And we're going to start off with the two most important types of collections that you'll probably use the most in Java, which are list and map. Then we're going to go on to two other types of collections that are not as frequently used, but you should still know how to use because when they are useful, they are really the only thing that you can use to implement the clean solution. So these two collections are called a set and a queue. And all of these collection types, we're going to be discussing the interface, and I'm going to show you some of the implementations. And that'll make a little bit more sense as we get into the understanding collections part. And then finally, I'm going to show you how to combine collections. One really important thing that you're going to find that you need to do in Java is to be able to take different types of collections and put them together. Most frequently, this is going to be done with some kind of map, although also a lot of times you might do this with. So what is a collection? What is this basic idea of using a collection? What do we mean when we're talking about this? Well, a collection is nothing more really than a group of different objects. And in Java, we use collections to basically make a lot of things simpler, a lot of algorithms, and a lot of common things that we would do that would require us to write a lot of code using arrays and different data structures in order to solve those algorithms. A lot of what maybe if you've done a computer science course, a lot of the data structures are basically captured in collections. Collections are just a way of making it so that you don't have to try to implement all those things yourself. So collections really make your job a lot easier, and all collections are some kind of a group. And basically collections are broken up into a few different kinds of groupings. And those groupings are usually grouped around attributes like uniqueness, the order of the items in that group, some kind of process, so some kind of rules that govern how you can remove and add items from a group, or that you can search or find them, and then some kind of mapping. You can use certain groupings or certain collections to map different items together. And these kind of ideas really encompass all of what are collections in Java. So really, collections are just some way to group things together according to some attributes that are unique to that group. So let's look at how collections are implemented in Java specifically. So in Java, we use an interface basically to create this collection hierarchy. And I've got a demonstration here of the hierarchy of collections in Java. You can see here that we have basically most of the collections implementing an interface called collection. And collection basically uses generics in order to work on any kind of a type. So before we had talked about how you could use generics, and collections are a great example of generics. They're based off of generics. So off of collection, we have some other interfaces: a set, a list, a queue, and there's a sorted set, which we're not going to cover here, but these are the basic ideas, is that all of these are more specific types of collection. And collection has some basic functionality of being able to add things and remove things from the collection, whereas these other interfaces impose some more restrictions and create more ways for you to manipulate that collection. Then all the way over to the right side, you can see here that there's a map. And map is basically a collection of its own. It's kind of unique from the other collections. It shares some of the attributes. Maps have keys, and they can be sorted or they can be traversed through, but they generally do something different than the rest of the collections because they actually map data together. But the basic structure in Java is that all of these are interfaces that you're looking at here. And you have different concrete implementations or different classes that implement these interfaces in order to create these collections. And these collection interfaces basically just define the way that you can interact with them. So, for example, in Java, when you want to create a list, we program against the interface list, and then you provide some kind of a specific implementation. And that could change. So in Java, a lot of times if I'm declaring a list variable, I'll declare it of type list, but then when I actually create the object, it'll be of array list or whatever the specific implementation of the list we get.